Man, what a difference 4 months makes. Eric Adams, mayor of New York, went from a 50-page, five-count indictment by the feds. Now, I did talk about this 4 months ago. I thought he was going to jail almost for sure because they arrested everybody around Eric Adams. And now, 4 months later, it's good to have friends in high places. The New York prosecutor who was prosecuting Eric Adams has decided to resign.
The acting U.S. attorney here in New York resigning just days after the Justice Department ordered her to drop criminal charges against New York City's mayor, Eric Adams. This is another story that continues to unfold in a lot of layers. Justice correspondent David Spunt joins me now live from the Department of Justice. Hi, David.
Hi, Martha, and this is going to continue to unfold over the next few days. So on Monday, acting Deputy Attorney General Emil Bove, former defense attorney for President Trump, running DOJ until Pam Bondi got in as AG, he instructed Danielle Sassoon, the acting U.S. attorney at SDNY, Southern District of New York, to drop the case against Mayor Eric Adams. They called it weaponization. They said he was not able to carry out his duties as mayor. He instructed her to drop it. 4 days later, it's not dropped. I just got my hands literally on an 8-page letter, and he is laying into Danielle Sassoon for not dropping the case. He says, Ms. Sassoon, in response to your refusal to comply with my instruction to dismiss, I write to notify you that your resignation is accepted. It says the decision is based on your choice to continue pursuing a politically motivated prosecution despite an express instruction to dismiss the case.
Eric Adams was in deep doo-doo 4 months ago. A bunch of people around him resigned. I think, I'm going to play some more video, but at the end of the day, Eric Adams decided to cozy up next to Trump. Towards the end of Biden's term, Eric Adams was speaking out against the migrants. Being a sanctuary city, New York had plenty of problems, so much chaos going on. Eric Adams read the room at the end of the day. So let me go back for a minute. I want to play what was happening 4 months ago with Eric Adams, because like I said, I talked about this a couple months back.
You want to note there are 5 counts in this 50-plus page indictment. Count 1, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, federal program bribery, and to receive campaign contributions by foreign nationals. Count 2, wire fraud. Count 3, solicitation of a contribution by a foreign national. Count 4, solicitation of a contribution by a foreign national. And count 5, bribery. So, Lisa Rubin, these are extensive charges, and it looks like all connected to illegal campaign contributions for the mayor by the Turkish government in exchange for things like luxury travel.
No, the feds had Eric Adams on a couple of things. So one of the things they had accused him of in the indictment was accepting bribes. So there was a Turkish diplomat who apparently wanted to have a building in Manhattan dedicated to, I don't know if it's going to be a Turkish embassy per se, but just a building where the Turkish government would be in control of, and I guess they would do certain things in that building, whether it be business, I'm not really sure. But all I know, there was a building in Manhattan that there's something called a certificate of occupancy if you're familiar with real estate. So certificate of occupancy, or CO, is just something from the city certifying that the building is safe. Now, the fire department in New York City at the time, this particular building that this Turkish diplomat wanted, the fire department in New York City did not deem the building safe. They hadn't cleared it for the CO. At the time, Eric Adams, from what they said, Eric Adams kind of went in over the fire chief's head and granted this Turkish diplomat the CO. The reason why he did that is what they were alleging is that this Turkish diplomat was kind of the contact between the Turkish government and Eric Adams. He had been contributing to Eric Adams' campaign going back to 2018, I believe. So what they were saying is that the travel that Eric Adams was doing throughout the last, 7-8 years, a lot of that travel, they were saying that they would pay for Eric Adams' trip for a lot of this travel. And he would often stop over in Turkey before going to other places. He had taken trips to Ghana, other places in Africa, and other places in the Middle East. From what I understand, there was a lot of money and favors that they had given Eric Adams. I'm surprised that the feds dropped it. But again, the best friend to have right now would be Donald Trump.
No question, Mayor Adams is walking a political tightrope. He clearly felt the need to reassure U.S. border czar Tom Homan that New York is doing all it can to cooperate with a federal crackdown on illegal immigration. But the mayor also feeling the need to reassure New Yorkers that he is not simply opening up the doors to ICE. And in fact, he told us that ICE agents cannot come into sensitive locations without a judicial warrant. After his hour-plus meeting with U.S. border czar Tom Homan, Mayor Eric Adams acknowledged to us that Homan had been frustrated that a previous promise to allow ICE agents on Rikers Island hadn't happened yet.
Without a doubt. It wasn't that it wasn't kept. It was that we didn't actually implement them. And one of them was Rikers Island. We had to understand all the legal parameters to put ICE back on Rikers Island, which we think is a smart thing to do. Today, we shared with them, ICE will be back on Rikers Island to deal with the criminal aspect of investigation.
As you see, Eric Adams is the total polar opposite of Brandon Johnson in Chicago, the Chicago mayor. Now, Chicago mayor didn't want to let anybody into the prisons. I'm sure they wanted to scrape Cook County Jail. Eric Adams, the main thing is letting Tom Homan in there, and they're going to let him go into Rikers Island.
That he's going to hold the mayor responsible for things he said prior. The last meeting they had.
City Council member Bob Holden, part of a small group of city lawmakers who met with Homan today just before the mayor. At issue, will the city relax its sanctuary city laws and allow ICE agents and other federal authorities broad access to buildings like courthouses, shelters, and schools?
Tom Homan, if I came away with anything, he's looking for the real bad actors that are in our city, that were criminals in their own country and need to be deported.
Does Tom Homan want you also to open the doors to schools, courthouses, shelters? ICE can go where they want.
That was not an ask of the border czar. He's very clear that in order to go into those entities, you need a judicial warrant.
The politics, delicate. The meeting just 2 days after the Justice Department told prosecutors to drop the criminal bribery and corruption case against Mayor Adams. The feds preserving the option of reopening the indictment this fall. The mayor has long maintained his innocence, but even top Democrats concerned.
It is the intention of the Trump administration to keep the current mayor on a short leash.
Now, that's a fact. So like I said, that's the whole point of this, So, politics is an interesting game. Quid pro quo, friends in high places, all of that stuff matters. So Adams has got a huge indictment dropped for now, which is pretty miraculous. And in return, he is going to definitely cooperate with Tom Homan and the Trump administration. Me personally, I don't have an issue with it because now I don't know about his indictment as far as what they had. That was yet to be seen. But as far as New York in and of itself, New York has had a lot of problems with migrants. They have had a lot of problems with crime in general. And New York is one of those cities, if you've ever been to New York, I'm here in New Jersey, so I'm right next door. New York is one of those places where everything's jumbled up together. So much has happened in New York. I mean, there's tons of different things. We had the woman who was burned alive by an illegal migrant on the train and died. We had a stabbing. We've obviously had other crimes that were involved with illegal migrants over the last year in particular. So let me know what you think in the comments about Eric Adams. Did he dodge a bullet? What do you think? I think it's pretty obvious that he got his indictment dropped as a favor. And do you think the feds will retry him in the fall? I doubt it, but let me know what you think in the comments. Crucial Convo.